Mm. On behalf of the People's Health Alliance, I'd like to welcome and thank you all for joining us this evening in a workshop. Well, we'll be diving into a topic that surrounds us constantly, but is often overlooked, and that is electromagnetic frequencies, or EMFs. As we become increasingly connected in a world of digital devices and wireless networks, important questions about how these invisible forces might impact our health are coming to the fore. From devices we carry with us every day to the structures in our homes and workplaces, EMFs are a part of our lives, but what do we actually know about their effects? So this evening, I'm really happy that we're joined by Rebecca Sturgeon, who is an experienced homeopath, who actually began investigating what was happening to her patients back in 2015. And that led her to speak about this very subject on EMFs. So we're going to find out a lot of information about EMFs. I'll hand over to Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining us. The floor is yours, darling.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much. Leslie, I do hope you can hear or see or something. I'm going to share now the screen. Okay, let me just get rid of a couple of things so it's not all over. How's that looking, Magnus?
That looks fine.
Is that fine? Okay, I'm sorry about the background on it if there's so much stuff. Okay, let's begin. So why can I talk about this subject? I'm a homeopath of 30 years, which doesn't make a lot of sense as to why I would talk about it. Sorry, people, I've got to do something because I can't change. Hang on, I've got to click here and, yes. I work with vibrational medicine. Vibrational medicine is frequency. It can be measured in hertz, and so can electromagnetic frequencies. So why I can talk on this subject, and as Magnus just mentioned, it started with my patients back in 2015. And I started getting, I was the homeopath for a Waldorf school in South Africa. And I started getting sent children who were falling asleep at their desks and aggressive or anxious. And I started to realize that they were addicted to gaming, most of them. So they were gaming all night. And so it became this sort of understanding that actually these screens were addictive. I had no idea. I was using screens like the rest of us. I had no idea, but now I started to look at it. And so I also had to go on my own digital journey and how to detox and how not to be on it all the time. And that was a very interesting journey coming off of social media, realizing how it was quite a voyeuristic for me, how I would go on and off because the addiction was quite strong. And yeah, it was a really interesting journey. But what I learned from it has helped me be able to give these talks because I know the addiction to our screens. And yeah, it's been an ongoing thing, and it is an ongoing thing. I was off of all WhatsApp and things like that, and I'm back on it all again because I'm in the UK at the moment, and it was the only way I could actually connect with people. So it's a push-pull. I do most of my communication from my laptop now, not my cell phone, which is always off. I then began organising professionals to talk about EMFs in the village where I lived in South Africa. I got the only person in South Africa who could deal with radiation, like move radiation machines, to come and give us a talk, which he did. It was a fantastic talk, and about 70 people came to the talk. Then I started organising talks for doctors, nurses, and health professionals with people with electromagnetic frequency sensitivity. One of them was a doctor who had to sleep, would you believe, in excuse me, in the ground, because anywhere above ground would absolutely, he wouldn't be able to sleep, basically. And then I organized a march in Cape Town against 5G, actually. That was quite fun. And finally, I did a proposition for a pilot study into the use of homeopathy with patients with electromagnetic frequency sensitivity. So I looked at all areas of it. So what's this EMF all about? What is it all about? This is a rudimentary Rebecca Sturgeon diving in to help her patients, then herself, and then the rest of the world type of affair. So, electromagnetic frequencies. We live in an electromagnetic spectrum, natural EMF. Dolphins, birds, bees use it to guide themselves, and many, many other things. Like I said, it could be enormous, this talk, but I'm trying to squish it all in. Even the beating of our beloved heart relies on electromagnetic signals. Antennas receive and transmit a form of electromagnetic field, which is called radio frequency radiation or microwave radiation. We have 10 billion times more electromagnetic frequency, man-made, than we did in the 1960s. We can't see it, we can't touch it, we can't smell it, we can't hear it, and we can't taste it. And we've all been educated to believe in these senses, that when we have that, we know it's real. So because there's this invisibility of it around us, we don't believe it's real. I found this very interesting Kirlian, did I say that? Yeah, Kirlian photography taken by a student at Newcastle University, Louis Herman. And he produced a series of photographs using a Kirlian device to show the strength of wireless signals, and that these are the color. The color denotes the strength. Red is the strongest signal, as you can see at the bottom there. This is just a cell phone on the floor that's picking up all of this. The other photograph you can see with the steps, this is Wi-Fi radiation at a building entrance. So now you can see it. This is what it looks like with a Kirlian photography, and that will show the vibration. So does it affect health, and what are the solutions? These are the signs that my patients have presented of electromagnetic stress. Aging prematurely, I think I've got that, due to oxidative stress. They are weak, they're fatigued, headaches, migraines, and often we find that when they're at work, they get them, but when they're at home, they don't. So proximity is one of the most important things that we discover. Tinnitus, the ears ringing, and people have reported to me that when they turn their Wi-Fi on and off at night, they sense it with the tinnitus. It goes up and down. Burning, numbness, tingling of skin. I'm sure many of you will know this part where you put the phone by your ear or hold it in your hand and you get this burning tinglingness in your hand or ear. When you walk past a tower or you have a phone close by, you feel palpitations and dizzy. Visual disruption, light sensitivity. Sleep disturbance, insomnia. Worse to exposure of toxic metals, mold, limes, and heavy metals. They react more to it. Neurological diseases such as multiple sclerosis. If you live within 500 meters of a tower, you are gonna, without a doubt, get sick. You can present with brain fog, difficulty concentrating, memory loss such as Alzheimer's, and depression, anxiety, and suicide. And suicide comes up because it is overwhelming to live with. The doctor I spoke of earlier who gave a talk, he couldn't live in the world anymore. When they turned on 4G in Cape Town, he could no longer be at night in any town or city. He had to get as far away as possible. And then he had to start burying himself in the ground to be able to sleep. So EMFs, what do they do? In the USA, the safety guidelines have not been updated since 1996. In the UK, they actually have 2020, but we are very influenced by the USA, as we know. And I tried to find out what the guidelines in the UK are, and I haven't been able to get back. I'll get back to you if you want to know it. It's currently registered as a Class 2B carcinogen, and many want it upgraded to a Class 1. It disrupts the endocrine system. The pineal gland sees EMF as light, and this disrupts the melatonin production. It affects memory, learning, leading to Alzheimer's. The pituitary gland function is affected. I've even heard it said that when you meditate, if the Wi-Fi's on, your pineal is vibrating so fast you're not actually meditating anymore. And it causes changes in natural psychological growth. The thyroid gland is disturbed and affected. There is calcium overload. We have calcium gates, and they are really tiny, obviously, but they can't shut. They open and shut differently when we are exposed to too much EMF radiation. Bone loss, kidney stones, heart and brain damage. Oxidative stress, as I've said, free radicals. This can create type 2 diabetes because EMF decreases insulin. Heart disease, testicular and sperm disorders, apoptosis, which is cell death. This is what we know, by the way, people. This is what we know, or this is what we've been able to study. We don't really know a great deal, unfortunately. Prenatal exposure to Wi-Fi can impact postnatal neural development, decrease special learning capacity. Children's brains are high risk and they absorb 2 times more EMFs than adults. We're living in a soup of new frequencies, 2G, which is actually being phased out, 3G, 4G, 5G, 6G, they're thinking of 7G. It keeps on going. These are all chaotic and foreign to our vibrational beings, and not just humans, of course. It is highly addictive. It keeps our attention and we want it. It is antisocial and anti-life. It is illusory. It's a virtual world out there. And it takes us further from source, God, love and connection. When I I recently did this talk live at a church hall or something like this. And I was reading a book as well, and the book's called Wetiko, and I just thought, oh my goodness, this just describes to me how I feel about the addiction and the can't put down and the constantly needing of screens, mobile phones, constant connection with one another, which is sort of can be quite terribly overwhelming, actually. So Wetiko is colloquially known as a sickness of the mind, sickness of the spirit, or a mind virus. And so I'm going to give you a little talk about Wetiko and see if you agree with me. Wetiko is the idea of consuming others, human and non-human, as a means of securing personal wealth and supremacy. A great depression, discouragement, despair. Think about going onto Instagram. Somebody I know called it the envy pill. That's their favorite weapon, putting suggestions to the mind so as to make it also accept the disturbance. These hostile forces create brain fog such that it is not a question of what the person does, but as if under the power of a compulsion, what they could not but help do, something other than themselves is driving them. It short circuits the individual's ability to see itself as an enmeshed and interdependent part of a balanced environment, the full separation of self from nature. A solution is notice that we have all been affected by Wetiko. We're all under this spell. The whole point is to know when you are working for your benefit and when you are working for the lower entities. So I'm just going to cough and I want to mute myself. Has anyone got any questions, any concerns? Am I going too fast? Is it all making sense?
Making very good sense.
Thanks, Magnus. Whoops, back to here. So, solutions. It ended up being sort of 3 Ps, I realized. Proximity, protection, and positive vibrations. Leave your phone on airplane. Proximity is the name of the game here. Leave your phone at home. Even better. Turn your Wi-Fi off. Unplug devices when they're not in use. Do not put devices near your body. Do you know that on every mobile phone, if you buy a new one, I never have, so I've never seen it, but apparently it says on every new mobile phone, do not put anywhere near your body. Put all tech out of your bedroom, create a sleep sanctuary. Excuse me, the most important thing is that you get a good night's sleep, and it does disturb our sleep. Turn that Wi-Fi off, particularly at night. Avoid wearables, Bluetooth, AirPods. So proximity is the #1 key, I feel, to dealing with this. You can buy a whole bunch of things. So there's shielding products, Faraday cages, protective clothing. I've got both these things. I've got grounding sheets. I've also had a professional to measure the exposure in my home in South Africa. You can use an anti-inflammatory such as turmeric. Triple wrap smart things in tin foil, heavy duty tin foil, smart meters, smartphones if you need to. Antioxidants such as dark chocolate, blueberries, berries, kale, beets and spinach are very good for us. Wire your home. When I was at home, I'm currently not in South Africa, I'm in the UK. My whole house was wired after I had a professional come in and measure my whole house. And it is fascinating when you get that done, because you find that shutting a door can create a hot spot in a room, or it can basically bring it to nothing. It's not, it's like it doesn't have this permanence where, you know, when you've got the light on, it seems to be a permanent light. With the Wi-Fi, it seems to shift and move other than from where the actual router is. Positive vibrations. I'm really into positive vibrations, and I want to try something with you all in a moment. So, work your addiction. It is hard work. You like, I can't do it, Magnus. You rubbing your eyes, I can't do this. You got to work it. I found it really, really hard initially, and then it got easier and easier. And just a little story, actually. As I've just told you, I'm here in England, and I've been here for nearly a year, but I haven't been here for 22 years, basically. And I was going on a 6-day journey down to Kent, where I used to live, and into London to have meetings, but every day I was going somewhere else on the train. And I get to the train station, and I see it's 4 minutes till my train is arriving, and I realize I've left my phone charging in my flat. A cold sweat goes through me. And I think, no, I can do this. I can totally do this. So I get on the train and I ask a woman if I can look on her Instagram, because I'm also on Instagram, because I'm here building my homeopathic practice. And she let me use her phone, but interestingly to me, they were all saying, "Are you going to steal her money or stuff like this?" And in South Africa, nobody would put their card details on their phone, because phones go missing like this. So I didn't even think that thought, to be honest with you. But anyway, I managed to get hold of the first friends I was meeting on Instagram. And then I had to get hold of the other 5 people. And I had to use the internet. Obviously, I looked people's businesses up. I got a hold of my son. When I got a hold of my son on Instagram, I said, hey, it's your mum. I've left my phone charging and I need grandma's phone number. And he said, prove you're my mother, which I thought was very wise. So work, and I tell you, those 6 days without that phone, it was bliss. So work your addiction. True connection, make true connections. We're encouraged to live virtually, and we need to live looking in each other's eyes, feeling each other's hearts. We need to come back to that without this sort of tension that seems to come from these phones. Barefoot walking is excellent. Nature, of course, I mean, that's the source for me. Increase your vibration. Say I love you to your food, your drinks. And I'd like to now try this. I did this at the talk recently. So if you could all come off of mute, please. I just want to try this and I want to see what happens to us when we're doing this virtually. Oh, sorry, Magnus, can you take everyone off of...
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Thanks. Julia, do you want to take your self off of mute, please? Maybe not. Okay, we will do this. Oh, hello, Julia. Thank you so much. So I want you all to om. We're going to om. Catherine, help me here. How do I say this properly?
Oh.
Thank you very much. Can we all do this together?
Oh, more?
More, please. More, please.
Oh.
That isn't, I don't know. I'd like to know how you feel after oming.
Quite stoned.
Lucky for some.
I always
Catherine,
feel good after omming or humming.
Mm.
Julia?
I feel quite peaceful, actually.
Yeah. Leslie?
I quite like the tone, the actual note.
Yes.
It's quite calming.
It's quite calming, isn't it? So I was given, this is going to sound a bit odd, but I was given this as a way of negating 5G.
That'll do.
I was given this ohm or om to do whenever I feel under vibrational attack from 5G. And I do it every single time, and it works for me every single time. That peacefulness, that slightly stonedness, that relaxedness, that nice soundness. It really goes through our bodies and it helps us to recalibrate from these crazy vibrations we're experiencing. Thank you, everyone. When we did it in the hall, it raised the whole vibration of everyone sitting there. So again, you've seen Kirlian photography at the beginning of my talk, and now I'm showing you at the end of my talk. Dr. Masaru Emoto, he was the one who bought us Kirlian photography. And this was him talking to water. And these are the patterns that the water made when he said these words to the water. So this is how powerful your vibration is to be able to change things. Just because we can't see it, it doesn't mean it's happening. So you can see he said eternal, peace. This one is the one at the end, which is golden, is love and gratitude. The one in the bottom left corner is evil. The middle one is thank you. And the very bottom one on the right is you disgust me. It's quite fascinating to see that, hey? And finally, I'm sorry, I thought this was going to take a lot longer. I thought there was going to be loads of questions, but maybe there will be. So for my, and I'm sorry for this photograph. This was a photograph I took, it was on my fridge. So it's just from my rubbishy phone. And this to me is something I always like to hold. I'm also a trained anthroposophical doctor. So Rudolf Steiner is a hero of mine. And he came with this on the 27th of November, 1919. For this I can't say it. Michaelic age, we must eradicate from the soul all fear and terror for what comes out of the future. We must acquire serenity in all feelings and sensations about the future. We must look forward with absolute equanimity to everything that may come, and we must think only that whatever comes is given us by world direction full of wisdom. It is part of what we must learn, namely to live out of pure trust without any security in existence, trusting in the ever-present help of the spiritual world. Truly, nothing else will do if our courage is not to fail. Let us discipline our will and let us seek the awakening from within ourselves every morning, every evening. Thank you so much for listening to my talk. I'm going to stop the share. And if anyone has any questions, if I don't know the answers, I will get back to you. And if anyone wants to book an appointment with me homeopathically, my email's at the bottom, and so's my website of all of the slides you've just seen.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
do.
Great, Catherine.
You talked, well, I thought it was fascinating how OM can counteract the EMF. That's amazing. And also, you talked of a grounding mat. What would that do?
So what I used my grounding mats, I've got a grounding mat and I've got a grounding sheet. The grounding sheet I have on my bed, and the grounding mat is where I sit at my computer, at my desk. So basically it takes you back to the ground. It's a bit like barefoot walking.
Okay. So would it counteract the EMFs? It does.
Yes.
Wow,
Keeps you
brilliant.
grounded. Yeah. Particularly if you're in that sort of area, it's really worth it. Where you live, yeah, it'd be interesting to get an EMF meter down to your spot and see if there was anything there. But there will be, because you've got Wi-Fi, of course, and your neighbour.
Yeah. But I would like to hardwire the house.
It's the best thing to do if you want to be online.
Yeah. But
I did that. Sorry.
I've made sure that I've turned the Wi-Fi off every evening, and I've done it for a year or so now. And it's such a good feeling to turn it all off. And even my husband's, I always have my phone off in the evenings, and but I turn his off too. I've got quite controlling about his phone too, so it's brilliant, and it's great to get that confirmation from you as well. So thank you. Yeah.
Pleasure, darling. When I wired my house, my kids were about 14 and 16. They were livid. They had angry flip. I didn't care though. I was on a mission. They were like, nobody else is like you, Mum. I was like, I don't care. This is what we do.
Good for you. Yeah.
Can you tell me a bit more about grounding mats? What are they? Are they like, how do they work?
All I know is, all I would imagine they do is they pull whatever it is down and through you.
Right.
And I know with the grounding sheets, it's the same thing, because you actually have to plug them into the wall so that they protect you. There's like a little plug you put into the wall.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, there's also dirty electricity. There's a lot of different things you can test for when if you ever get an EMF specialist around, excuse me, they find dirty electricity, which is also dangerous to health as well.
Mm.
Leslie, Julia, would you like to ask any questions?
No, I'm good, thank you. I mean, I actually use a grounding mat, um, which I will use a sheet. I think that's actually works better for me.
Mm.
And it is actually quite good. I guess I'm with listening to what you've got to say, I've still got a bit of work to do with regards to sort of persuading my husband to sort of turn the Wi-Fi off on a night because of the fact that he's works on his business. But we do have sort of protective stuff on our gadgets, but I'd like to obviously sort of take it up a notch, really. Because I am from a health background, I'm a nurse, and I do understand some of the issues that are caused by it, and I don't think people actually realise how dangerous it is, to be quite honest with you.
Mm.
I absolutely agree with you, Leslie, and that's one of the, I'm really pleased you're here because I feel, myself as a health practitioner as well, we're dealing with this and there's nobody talking about it. Most of the doctors will just say, oh, you're anxious, or or it's what's it
Mm,
called, NOPO or something.
yeah.
It's terrible. People come to me in absolute pieces. They know it's happening to them.
Yeah, and sometimes people can't sort of put their finger on it as well. I think that's the other issue. They know they feel unwell, but they can't sort of know exactly what the problem is. And it's sort of going through the various things that may be around them and their environment, including what they're eating and a process of elimination, to then come to that point, really.
Yes. Yes. It is difficult. And I think one of the reasons why, Leslie, is that the five senses don't register it. So it's sort of like not there. It's just not there.
Yeah.
Although its effects manifest themselves in all sorts of horrible ways. So, yeah.
Mm.
And people are getting more aware, aren't they? People are waking up to the dangers in all aspects of life, but particularly EMFs. Yeah, how harmful they can be.
Magnus, how do you feel after listening to that?
I'm fascinated. I need to study it a lot more. I'm a bit of a normie, so I need to learn a lot more. I'm learning a lot. I've learned from your previous workshops as well, which, by the way, anybody can have a look at. They're on the website at pha.org. Yes, I'm fascinated. Homeopathy as well is something that is absolutely fascinating, and the idea of vibration. And it all kind of ties in. Vibration being the kind of the source, and how that's being manipulated by all sorts of things, whether it's for good or bad. So with homeopathy, it's a good thing, but EMFs can have a very detrimental effect on your natural vibrations, should we say?
Yep, exactly, exactly. And for me, that's why it was so easy for me to go, hang on, actually, what is happening is they're changing people's vibrations to such a degree. Nobody knows because we're totally addicted to it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we're slowly waking up as well to it. So
Slowly. There's a woman, I gave this talk, as I said earlier, with a woman who's an activist for this, and she is on a mission. If anyone is keen to get hold of her, please write to me and I'll put you in contact with her. But she's brilliant. She's always asking for extra help. So if somebody's very good at this stuff, I'm not very technical. I'm the health department on this. But she's always looking for extra people to help write to governments and ministers. And she's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. She's stopped masts going up around the country in different places.
When you had your house checked, you said in South Africa, did you have a specialist that came in measured the radiation in your house and
Yeah.
and then remedied it and said, right, install a wired network rather than a wireless one, obviously. But were there other things that they came up with that you needed to change or do?
I had dirty electricity in some of the areas. Let me remember. I think I was already wired by then. What did he find? There were certain hot spots around my garden and in my house where it was worse, and where I got where is it? Oh, it's not here. I bought some, oh my goodness, what are they called? Oh crikey, sorry.
Faraday
Oh my
cables?
goodness.
No, not
No,
Faraday.
they're these sort of, I honestly can't recall the name of them now. Let me just go and have a look in my 1 second, callers. Talk amongst yourselves. This, and I still can't remember what it's called. Oh, come in. Is it me? It's only going to go on me, isn't it? These are made out of certain types of metals and that very hard, like silica, not silicone, it's very hard plastic, but apparently it negates the effects of Wi-Fi and EMFs. And if I can remember the name before the end of the call, I'll tell you, but it's not coming to me at the moment. Oh, it's so irritating. I can almost see it written down, but I can't catch it. So I have one of those.
Is it shungite?
No, it's not
That's-
shungite, but I
Oh.
use shungite in my water bottle.
Okay.
This is shungite. I'll get it in a minute. It's a very strange thing, and people have been making it all over the world because apparently it negates the effects. I can't remember what it's called.
Do you have a meter? An EMF meter?
I do in South Africa. I do, yep. But
Because I got one, and apparently
one.
it's I got one, but apparently it's so insensitive that it doesn't pick up anything. So that was a waste of 30 quid. But I'm
Yeah, no,
sure
you've
there's
got
some good
to.
one.
No, you've got to spend thousands to get the one that will
Right.
be able to pick stuff up. This is called Organite. I've just remembered.
Oh,
Organite.
yes, Organite. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Came in the end.
Yeah, no, they're very expensive, those EMF readers, and really only the professionals have them actually, because they are so expensive. Us people can't really afford them.
No. And here's me thinking of 30 quid well spent, but not. Yeah.
No.
Oh,
Very
well,
cool.
should we wind it up a bit? Shall we?
Yes, indeed.
I'm minded to stop the recording, and then we can carry on and have an informal chat. So thanks a lot, Rebecca. Fantastic talk, as always. Thank you all for coming as well. And you can download. No, you can't. We're going to send you a link to where the talk is, so you can save it for posterity. Sorry, Leslie, I interrupted you.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you very much,
Yes,
Rebecca.
thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah.
A pleasure, Leslie. Pleasure,
Absolute
Catherine.
pleasure.
A pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.